Have you ever wondered how a simple grain like barley can transform into a complex and flavorful beverage like beer? Or how cabbage turns into tangy, probiotic-rich sauerkraut? The answer lies in a fascinating microbial process known as fermentation. Fermentation, at its core, is a metabolic process that certain types of microorganisms, such as yeast and bacteria, use to generate energy. Unlike humans who breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide, these microorganisms thrive in environments where there's little or no oxygen. They convert sugars into other compounds like alcohol or lactic acid, and in the process, they also produce energy. Imagine a group of tiny yeast cells feasting on the sugars in your bread dough. As they consume the sugar, they generate carbon dioxide. This gas gets trapped in the dough, causing it to rise and resulting in the fluffy texture we all love in our bread. Similarly, consider the bacteria that ferment cabbage into sauerkraut. These bacteria, known as lactobacilli, convert the sugars in cabbage into lactic acid. The acid creates an inhospitable environment for harmful bacteria, preserving the cabbage and giving sauerkraut its distinctive tangy flavor. In both of these examples, the microorganisms are using fermentation to survive, but the byproducts of their survival, carbon dioxide in bread and lactic acid in sauerkraut, have significant impacts on our food and beverages. Now, let's distill down the key points we've discussed. Fermentation is a metabolic process used by certain microorganisms to generate energy in environments with little or no oxygen. They do this by converting sugars into other compounds like alcohol or lactic acid. This process is not only crucial for the survival of these microorganisms, but also has significant implications for us. It's responsible for the rise of our bread, the tang of our sauerkraut, and the alcohol in our beer, to name just a few examples. So, the next time you enjoy a piece of sourdough bread, a forkful of sauerkraut, or a sip of beer, remember the tiny microorganisms and their fascinating process of fermentation that made it all possible.